Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to share with you a really simple and delicious gluten-free French baguette loaf. Now this was something that I made pretty quickly. It was probably 30 minutes tops, and it was so delicious. You can see the crumb here is just beautiful. It was soft, moist. It wasn't dense like a lot of gluten-free breads. It didn't crumble or fall apart. It held together beautifully, and it was just a perfect addition to our spaghetti and meatballs, and we also use it for sandwiches. So I can't wait to share the recipe. So don't forget to pause the video and take a screenshot. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any content. So first we're gonna start with 3/4 of a cup or 6 ounces of warm milk. And to that, we're gonna add our yeast. Having warm liquid is crucial to make sure our yeast is activated. So we're just going to mix everything together well, and then we're gonna set it aside to activate the yeast. And you'll know it's activated when the yeast has bubbled and is nice and foamy at the top. So next we're gonna move to our bread mixture. So here I have Pamela's gluten-free bread mix. I really did enjoy this bread flour for this recipe, but go ahead and use whatever you prefer or have, or if you have a gluten-free all-purpose flour, just make sure you add some xanthan gum to create the rise and help with binding. So next to our flour, we're gonna add some arrowroot starch. This is going to create a light and fluffy texture. And then next we're gonna add in our salt, always a crucial ingredient in baking. And then that's it for the dry ingredients. So we're just going to stir this well and incorporate it. This would be a really great opportunity to add some inclusions if you'd like as well. But moving on, we're gonna start with our wet ingredients. So here I am just taking the egg white. So I'm going to separate the yolk from the white, and the white is going to create a lighter and fluffy texture as well. So next we're going to add some apple cider vinegar. This is going to help create a rise in our dough. And then for sweetener, I'm using honey, but you could totally opt out or substitute the honey for white sugar if that's all you have or if that's what you prefer. And then we're just going to give everything a really quick stir. And if you don't have a kitchen scale, you can always just spoon your flour mixture into your measuring cup to make sure that you don't overfill your measuring cup. It's just a little quick trick. So next we're going to create a little well at the bottom of our flour mixture and add in our wet ingredients. And then we're going to add in our nice and foamy and activated yeast and milk mixture. I'm just stirring everything together really quickly to make sure I don't miss anything and leave anything behind. And then we're just going to mix everything together. And we just want to mix until everything is well incorporated. And then this is the next step is the butter. I'm using about 2 tablespoons. You could use slightly more or less or opt for oil if you prefer. Or if you want to use a dairy-free version, you can use just water and oil. And again, if you wanted to add some inclusions, this would be another great opportunity as well. Maybe some rosemary and garlic, but this is just, that's it guys. It's a really simple dough. And now the next step is to cover your dough and let it sit in the fridge for at least 30 minutes. And the reason we do this is we want our dough to have some time to set before we try to manipulate it into our shape. And also it is going to help hydrate your dough. So once you're ready to form your dough, you're going to lightly flour your work surface with some arrowroot starch and then the top of your dough as well. And then we're just going to fold the dough over onto itself about 4 to 6 times just to help create some tension and to just help the dough be more pliable to shaping. And then if you want a traditional baguette size, I recommend keeping the dough in one section rather than splitting into two. But I'm doing little mini baguettes, or maybe for a size reference, more of like a 6-inch sub size. So once you're done with your folds, you're gonna go ahead and grab your bench scraper or a knife and just split the dough in half. And then from here, we're gonna work just one half of the dough at a time, and we are gently going to roll our dough out into our shape. And so here I just folded the half over onto itself, and I'm just very gently shaping my dough into the size and shape that I am going for. And then for the French baguette traditional shaping, we're going to just taper it at the ends, just so slightly. And then that is what is going to give us that beautiful baguette shape. So next we're going to do the same with the other half, just gently folding it over onto itself and molding into the size and shape of your preference. And if your dough is sticky, just add a little more of the starch. You could sprinkle some more on the top and smooth it out. And then again, just taper off at the ends. You could also roll it with both of your palms at the top of the dough, just pressing gently and starting with pushing away from you and then pulling towards you. But again, this is a more delicate dough, so just be very gentle. So next we're gonna grab some parchment paper and add our dough either to a loaf pan, or if you don't have one, a baking sheet will do just fine. So once our loaves are on our baking vessel of choice, we're going to grab some saran wrap and spray with some nonstick spray. This is just going to make sure that it doesn't stick to the dough and that it just creates a little bit of a seal around the edges of the dough. As you can see me just sealing the edges, making sure the dough stays nice and moist. And then we're gonna leave it to rise for roughly, depending on how warm your home is, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, possibly more or less. And you want it to rise by about double, if not slightly more. And so here it is after it has risen. I'm just slightly and gently shaping, and then we're gonna score. So you can use a bread lame if you have one. If not, a paring knife will do just fine, or a really sharp kitchen knife. And we're just gonna score it in 3 diagonal sections. And then from here, we're going to preheat our oven to 475 degrees. And we're gonna position it just slightly higher than the middle of the oven. And a trick to get a really good loaf is to throw a couple ice cubes at the bottom and quickly close the oven door to create steam. And this is gonna help with the crust to be nice and moist and chewy. And then here it is. Looks like it came straight out of Nona's kitchen, just beautiful. So I am rubbing with some butter as it's fresh out of the oven so it gets nice and melted, and it just helps soften the crust. If you prefer a more crispier crust, you can skip that step, but that is it. Beautiful golden gluten-free French baguettes that were absolutely phenomenal. Far better than any gluten-free French bread I have ever bought from a store or tasted at a restaurant. So I hope you guys try this out and love it and devour it as much as I have. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe and stay up to date with the newest gluten-free recipes. Bye guys, hope you have a great one.